Good afternoon, everybody. Join me. I am grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. I am grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. I am grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. I am grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for, all the many ways that the love of God appears. Yes, the love of God is here. Thank you, Penelope. Hello, my name is Mally Lapete. My pronouns are she and her, and I gladly serve here at SLCA. If today's your first day here, your first time, welcome. We're so happy that you chose to spend your time with us. Please make yourself known in the online chat or in person so a member of our welcome team can greet you. We have so many great opportunities to connect, to grow, serve, give. For more information about today's announcements and other opportunities, scan the QR code found on your monitor. Are you curious about certain spiritual practices, but have few opportunities to discuss it with like-minded people? Well, join us today during our 5 o'clock hour as we continue a monthly discussion group exploring topics that may be hard to talk about with your friends and family. This is one of the most popular workshops, so if you've not joined yet, please check it out. Our SLCA practitioner, Tony Jenkins, is on hand today and ready to answer any questions. Join us and let's talk about it. Last month, we announced that a generous member at SLCA offered a $25,000 match program to help us meet the deficit we have currently for 2024. Thanks to another dedicated member, as of this morning, we are 50% there towards reaching the goal of matching that $25,000. And we're confident that with your help, we'll meet or surpass this goal. Please consider making an additional end-of-the-year donation so we can match this beautiful $25,000 offer. We're excited to announce that once again we'll join UUCA on Christmas Eve, morning and night. Well, the morning we'll have a pancake breakfast from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. This is a wonderful opportunity to connect with others. Penelope will be blessing us with music as well. In addition, there will be 2 worship services on Christmas Eve, one at 5 p.m. and one at 7 p.m. Hope to see you there. I'll be there at 7. Please plan now to attend the most popular service of the year. On December 29th, our practitioners and ministers will host our annual Burning Bowl and White Stone ceremony. My white stone sits on top of my dresser. I see it every day. Are you ready to release the things that no longer serve you and set your intention for 2025? Invite a friend to join you, to help you, to be your pal. This is a service that you don't want to miss. Again, thank you for coming today. We look forward to visiting with you down in the social hall after the service for food and fellowship. And remember, you belong.
Unfold your heart. Relax your senses. Feel every part. You ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound. Breathe every breath. Release your cringe. Love without waiting. Slowly unhinge. You ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound.
Join me as we give thanks for the day, for the life that we have for each other. All of this is the gift, the blessing of the one God, the one who is self-evident, Alpha and Omega, everlasting, everywhere present, goodness, love, peace, harmony, and I am thankful for that. Knowing this, I can listen and I can follow the Holy Scripture that there are 169 of them that say, fear not. There is nothing to fear. We know who the source is. We know who supplies our good, our every need fulfilled. Every preparation made, even before we know, is worked out for us. Never played, never abandoned. What great consolation. And as such, I can work on being the best me, embodying to the best of my ability, knowing that I am a creature that is forever unfolding, and my best is yet to come. I can rise above conditions, appearances, things that I don't understand will be revealed later. But fear not, worry not. I had the divine power, my birthright to heal. And at this point, we need healing. Each one of us can call on it. We can heal from all things, all manner of things that are showing up as health challenges. We know that we can heal, and so I do, to the best of my ability, and each time it shows up, I face it. I know that Spirit and I can get through anything together, that there's a way where I see no way. I don't even see an opening as a window. But Spirit has a way of making a way out of nowhere. And for that I am grateful. I give thanks. I give thanks for this teaching. I give thanks for this center. I give thanks for every single person, every single being who participates and does a part to make this a place where everyone who comes through the door can know that they belong. And we've been making this just for those who want to come. And we say, let them all come. All are welcome. And I just give thanks for the things that I'm able to share, the things that are shared with me, and I take each one as a precious gift. And I release these words into the law, knowing that all is well and it only gets better. And we can affirm this together, and so it is.
You can stop waiting for love to find you. Look inside your heart. Love's already who you are. So lift up your voice. Let it be heard. Tell me your story, tell it to me. Don't leave out a word. 'Cause I think I have been there too, and I'm a seeker just like you. You ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound. Yeah.
Well, greetings, a glorious and good afternoon to you. It's a gracious good day, isn't it? You may be wondering where Reverend David is. He's a little under the weather today, and you have the benefit of my presence. Glad that you are here. And it's time for us to stop and give back. It's that opportunity for us to stop and give back to this center which gives so much. Whether you're online, whether you're in person, whether you hear this later on, that opportunity exists. And what we know is that this center is self-supporting. We do not receive funds from any organization unless they choose to donate us. And we can use the money because this is wonderful, it's beautiful, and it's expensive to keep going, truly. I love this teaching, I love this center, and I hope you will join me in giving and giving generously. And you can text any amount to that number up there. You can give online through donations. You can give on our digital program at slca.updates.church. And you can give by check or money today, and we will have someone coming through with a basket in a moment that'll give you that opportunity. And so I would like to ask you to join me in our affirmation for grateful giving, if you will. I live in a universe of abundance as I freely and joyfully give. I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is.
You are the sacred one in the sacred time, no beginning and no end, holding up the light for all to see, heart and mind now freely blend, fully honoring the gifts you bring to a world that now believes. You are the sacred one in time. Welcome home, my sacred friend. I am the sacred one in the sacred time, no beginning and no end, holding up the light for all to see, heart and mind now freely blend, fully honoring the gifts I bring to a world that now believes. I am the sacred one in the sacred time. Welcome home, my sacred friend. We are the sacred ones in the sacred time. No beginning and no end, holding up the light for all to see, heart and mind now freely blend, fully honoring the gifts we bring to a world that now believes. We are the sacred ones in the sacred time. Welcome home, my sacred friend. Welcome home, my sacred friend. Yes.
Thank you, Penelope. So as the offering comes up here today, would you join me in blessing this offering? If you like, you could extend your hands, certainly your heart. And let's know this, that every person who is giving and sharing with us through money, through time, through prayer, is blessed in return for the giving, because we are always blessed by giving and we allow ourselves to receive. And so I thank every person who has donated to this center in whatever way, and I am especially grateful for this money. It goes forward to do its good and perfect work as we reach out to the world with a message of oneness, love, and peace. So knowing it is going forth without doubt and with certainty to bless and uplift, I simply say thank you, and so it is.
Please welcome our beloved Reverend Susan Zoller, one of our staff ministers this afternoon. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you. And you know, not every place gets music like this. Let's give Penelope another hand for week after week of wonderfulness. She's dedicated a lot of her time and many years to this teaching and giving of the gift of music. So much to be grateful for. So anyway, I'm sitting on the couch Friday thinking about my to-do list and all I want to get accomplished, and the phone rings. And it's Shannon Pruitt, our executive director. And I thought, something's up. I knew it was. Reverend David, you know, our senior minister, would not be here on Sunday, and could I please speak? Well, what's the title for this Sunday, I asked, and he answered, Standing on Sacred Ground. So I said, fine, count me in. And you know, it's just fine by me. It's better than fine, because I love this teaching, I love this center, and I love telling people and sharing the great messages that we have that definitely upgraded it and lifted my life. You know, what we teach here is not a secret. It can be found in the world's great religions in one way or another. You know, same principles we talk about here every week in our Sunday services, our classes, our workshops, our meetings. They're the core of the philosophy of what we know as science of mind that was put together by Ernest Holmes, the founder of what we call science of mind, also known as religious science. So I was jazzed. I was jazzed. I was so jazzed that when I heard about that $25,000 matching gift, I'm going to bring another check next week. And I encourage you to. I was so jazzed that, you know, I just couldn't wait to get up here and share that, because it just lifts me and energizes me to be here, and I hope that it does the same for you. But you know, he told me that title, Standing on Sacred Ground, and I have to be honest. Instantaneously in my head, all I heard was, standing on shaky ground, ever since you put me down, standing on shaky ground. That's Delbert McClintock. And I love that song, and it made me stop and think, you know, how do ministers week after week all over the place write these talks? How do they get the ideas? And I can tell you, for my process, it's very simple. I pray to be guided for the germ of the idea, the core idea that I'm going to build things around. And then there was Delbert singing in my head. And I knew that was a gift. It was spontaneous. I don't know what brought it up. You know, my Baptist background wanted to go, thank you, Jesus. But, you know, we don't do that exactly here. And besides, I wanted to dance. You know, that's not exactly Baptist either. But it was enthusiastic appreciation. Why? Why? Because what we teach here works. It really does. God, Spirit, Divine Mind, Atman, Allah, whatever name it is called, works through seemingly ordinary means. Absolutely. You know, the lyrics just seemed to pop in my head. In fact, when I was writing the title of this song, I had to go back and change it because I wrote Standing on Shaky Ground. I loved it. You know, it was intuition and what I call a manifestation through me of divine mind. You know, it was what I come here for, is to learn more about how Spirit works in through me. And that's where I got the where, when, how, what, and how for this Sunday talk. It is from Spirit. And it reminds me of that old Southern saying that you look at and say, when you really don't feel this way, that's nice. You know, it means what in the world are you talking about, and why in the heck did they ask her to speak today? But all that aside, it is so beautiful to immerse ourselves in the belief that right where we are, right here, right now, we are on sacred ground. We're in sacred space. We're in the consciousness of people coming together with a greater idea, and if they don't have it at that moment, they can be in that atmosphere and absorb knowing the sacred. Absolutely. For me, when that happens, I get this feeling of instantaneous expansion, of knowing connection with something that is bigger and greater than I am, of my experience of life in this world. Absolutely. It's a feeling that originated in childhood for me when I would be in church and look at those stained glass windows while wondering why the minister said the same thing over and over in louder terms. Really, they did. And knowing that there's something beyond that which I know, something which is so bigger, it's so large, and I'm connected with it. It was magnificent. It still is. So stop with me for a moment. Would you close your eyes? I can't see if you do or not. It's up to you. But just relax and become aware of your breath. Allow the breath to relax your body. And notice what comes to mind when you consider you are on sacred ground. You are in sacred space. Thank you. For some people, it's a feeling of peace. Maybe it's an image of a beloved place, a wonderful memory. Perhaps you feel a sensation that's physical in your body, a relaxation or deepening of the breath. Whatever, it can be lovely. And then there's other people who are going to hear this talk either today or later on through the various means you have to view it and say, well, I'm not standing on sacred ground. What comes is what comes, it's information, whatever came to you. Our response to the question of sacred ground is simply information that is going to reveal itself to us. And it gives you something to understand. There's no judgment here. There's no need to say, well, you got this and I got that. Yours is better, mine is better, or anything like that. It's just information. It's just that moment of allowing ourselves to hear something that whether we realize or not, it is Spirit speaking to us. Perhaps you feel a deeper connection to something greater, and perhaps you're not sure what you feel, or you don't think you feel anything at all. Yet on multiple occasions, people have said to me, when asked to do so, to consider that sacred space, that felt so good and relaxing. It felt so nourishing. Why can't I feel this way all the time? Really, good question. Why can't we? Why can't we? Why don't we? There are people who stay in that consciousness a great deal of the time. Maybe someone stays in it all the time. I'm not sure. It doesn't happen for me, but I know that it can. Now, there is so much going on in this world. There is so much stimulation coming to us from every side that it is not surprising that a lot of people feel overwhelmed. People withdraw from life in certain ways because they're just overwhelmed, or what seems to be happening is so difficult for them to experience and accept. And there are few people who really have the time with all that's going on in their lives, maybe children, jobs, obligations, whatever. They just don't seem to find the time to stop and do that. You know, they don't withdraw for a minute or two and contemplate a greater mystery, our place in the larger world and universe. Well, with regard to the mysteries of existence, they don't have the time, or do they? Do you and I have the time? You know, to experience that does not have to take a great deal of time. We can actually go in within ourselves, and in a moment of ordinary time as we consider it, that can enlarge within us. And what is a mere moment in most people's minds can become an extended expansion, a connection. You know, a moment can expand if we allow it to. We don't have to force it. How you and I allow ourselves to be is individual. It's going to be different for every person. It's easier for some people than others. You know, for some it doesn't seem to happen very easily at all. They can be frustrated by it. In fact, they can be downright angry and sometimes raging by the fact that they don't take this in, take that opportunity. You know, they don't want to stop and consider the world and the universe at large. They don't want to meditate to release everyday consciousness for even a small moment of time. And that was my experience for a long time. It seems so unfair that all these people I know could just close their eyes and go into deep meditation, and I'm thinking, what are they thinking? How did they do this? Did I leave the iron on? You know, how come they get stuff and I don't get stuff? I mean, I had people tell me I saw my spirit guide. I met with the Indian chiefs and the white doves came down. I'm thinking, dang, I was just wondering how long this service was going to last. You know, really, I was. They had lovely images and great experiences. My thoughts just straight around until one day somebody told me another way to meditate. And it was a friend of mine. She was a chaplain of the university, on the Yale University. No, I'm sorry, it was Princeton University in New Jersey, in Princeton, New Jersey. And she was teaching graduate students mindfulness meditation. And she told me this very simple way to meditate, and it changed everything for me. And I began to practice it and enlarge it. And it came crystal clear to me that indeed I was standing on sacred ground, that I could actually quiet my mind. My desire to do so and my frustration at not being able to do so brought information to me that made that possible, what I thought was pretty much impossible. You know, I was standing on shaky ground there. That part of me that felt separated from that connection I felt as a child. We had these beautiful stained glass windows in the Baptist church I was raised in, and I would look at them, and while they showed scenes of, you know, spiritual torture of poor Jesus, they were beautiful, and the colors were rich and deep, and I felt elevated by being there. There was some part of me knew there was something more. Absolutely. You know, I thought God or Spirit, or by whatever name we call it, divine mind, divine intelligence, Jehovah, I thought God was not for me. God was there, but God was like a big parent, and if you didn't do the right things, you were in deep duty. Really, you were what I call a candidate for eternal roasting without basting. Really. You know, that was big, and it just seemed like that wasn't for me. There was something missing, something disconnected, or there was something wrong with what was going on, or maybe wrong with me. The earth was moving beneath me, but my thoughts and feelings were not so quietly quaking. The earth moved steadily, but there I was, because I couldn't feel it. I might be standing on sacred ground, but I was the shaky one. I wasn't ready to deal with my doubts, my insecurities, the negativities I felt toward myself, my criticisms of myself and of others. So I didn't. I just didn't. I stayed really busy, very busy, and I lived reactively rather than responsively. I chose the solid ground of my five senses, living in the world. It really was rather reactive. As I look back on it now, I slept in on Sundays. I went to graduate school, got a master's, etc. But I didn't want to stop and think about my beliefs and my avoidance, and that worked for me then. But what I've come to realize is that really, wherever I am on sacred ground. Whatever's happening, I am on sacred ground. I am. But what also is important is how connected I feel to spirit, to recognize the God within me. You know, it depends on my consciousness, and you hear that word a lot here. So what is consciousness? So I looked it up. According to dictionary.com, consciousness is a state of being aware of one's own existence, sensations, thoughts, surroundings, whether actively or subconsciously. So it's the sum total of our thoughts and emotions, the results of our actions, even if we don't believe or realize what we feel. I've had a lot of denial in my life, and I didn't realize the extent of what I was doing in my head. However, through diligence, commitment, and the study of science of mind, I learned that what I thought and felt was very creative, and it was creating my limited, self-fulfilling, negative beliefs, creating a lot of what I did not want. Absolutely. In order to experience more and greater, there has to be a release. There has to be a release. As stated earlier, prayer works. It works unfailingly, and the results are formulated by what we give to the divine mind. By the stories we tell ourselves, what we believe and feel, how we view the world. I didn't realize how often I was so critical, especially of myself. So what I learned is if I do not like the results of my prayers, and how do I know what those results are? I simply look around my life and see what's going on. Is it happy? Is it expansive? Is it bringing joy to myself and to others? Am I loving? Well, if I don't like the results of my prayers, you know, I need to pray differently. In other words, to think and feel differently. And to put it real simply, if you don't like what's coming out of the radio, change the channel. That was one that really gave me a good picture of changing the channel, changing where I am. You know, I call it letting go. And I wrote my second talk ever in my ministerial career called Letting Go is Getting. And we have to let go of what we don't want to experience in order to make space for what we do want. Because Spirit's always responding. It's what we're giving it to respond to. You know, I think if you want to stand on sacred ground, sometimes you just got to let go of what you consider the reality of the ground you're on. Now, the biggest example I heard of that shows this was written by Daryl Connor in a book called Management at the Speed of Change. Management at the Speed of Change. And it tells this, a true story. It's July 1988, and there was a disastrous oil rig explosion that occurred in the North Sea off the coast of Scotland. It was night and dark and cold. The North Sea is known for being rather treacherous, with huge waves. And 166 members perished along with 2 rescue workers in that explosion. Only 63 people survived, and one of them was Andy Moken, a superintendent, and his story is very interesting. He was asleep, deeply asleep, and he was awakened by the explosions because they were huge. And if you know much about an oil rig, people work long hours on and long hours off. It's very dangerous work also, as you can tell. He was asleep. He probably worked at least a 12-hour shift before this, and I doubt with all those men on there that he had any clothes on. And without hesitation, here's what Andy did. He ran to the side of the oil rig and jumped 150 feet into the tumultuous North Sea. That's something else, the tumultuous North Sea. And he knew that unrescued, by 15 minutes, he would have succumbed to hypothermia with the cold temperatures. He knew that if the wind pushed him, he could fall into the steel rigs on the way down and kill himself. He knew the water was so strong and the waves so large. He knew that on an oil rig with the extra food, they toss it over the side. And guess who comes to eat it? A lot of sharks. Now, many things could have happened, but none of these things happened, and Andy jumped. Now think about our world today, but let's know this. He didn't do it for personal growth experience. He didn't do it from confidence. He didn't do it because it seemed like a good idea, and he definitely did not do it because he wanted to challenge himself. Oh no. When asked why he made this instantaneous and life-saving decision, his response was simple. It was jump or fry. Now, anybody else could have jumped over the side of that rig, but they didn't. Perhaps they thought it was their job to stay. Perhaps they thought, I'll never make it. Perhaps they thought about the sharks or the temperature or whatever. But you know, they didn't jump, and 166 people and 2 rescue workers perished. Andy Moken survived where 166 other people did not. This is a man who knows how to deal with change because he said it's jump or fry. He recognized it. He was experienced enough on the rigs to know what was happening. Now, that's an amazing story. It is absolutely true, and it's one I never, ever want to experience or anything parallel to it. You know, here's the thing. We don't want to have to wait till we get to what Connor, the author, considered a burning platform experience or moment, in which the platform is burning and we have to decide if we're going to live and thrive or the opposite. We're going to stay because it's scary. We're going to stay because we think we'll be rescued by someone else. We're going to stay because blah, 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 whatever. The fact is, those people died. I don't think death is the worst thing that happened to you, but I don't think burning on an oil rig is very pleasant either. You know, we don't have to wait for that burning platform moment to change our thoughts and actions. It doesn't have to go that far. I used to wonder, how will I respond when there's a great challenge? And I would imagine myself responding, and by God, thought is creative. I create a lot of challenging moments. Absolutely. You know, be careful what you wish for and think about, because you just might get it, and I did. Now, contrary to Andy, this is what I have to say. We can change in order to personally grow. We absolutely can. We can change from confidence. We can change because it's a great idea, and also change can be very challenging. Maybe easy, but I find a lot of it is very challenging. The world is filled with a lot of dissatisfied, unhappy, angry, sometimes outraged people who are disappointed and disillusioned by the state of their affairs and what's going on in the world. You and I know, because of this teaching, that we have the ability to affect the course of our lives and the circumstances in it. We don't control it. We give out our energy through vibration, as we understand it, into the great mind of the Most High, and it is returned to us as the circumstances of our lives, even if we don't think it is. It's surprising what we think in our minds that we don't realize it matters. But you know something? You and I are not mistakes. We are manifestations of the Most High. We are the beloved expressions of the intelligence that created and runs this orderly universe. We are blessed with the ability to think and to think about what we're thinking. Spirit's always responding to us, absolutely. And our prayers are more than letters to God that start off with, Dear John, or Our Father, as if you were growing up in the same tradition as I have. And very truly yours is, and so it is. They're not that. They're everything we think, do, feel, and say. It matters. You know, there's no need to beg or plead, to try and negotiate. The answer when we speak through every part of our existence is simply yes. Divine mind says yes. It does not evaluate, it does not judge, and it does not hold a grudge. No. Whatever I did yesterday, if I decide to change, I mean change, not just talk about it, that begins to be responded to. I'm not saying we don't have to deal with the results of our actions, but at that moment, everything can change. We can change, you and I, to personally grow and do so with the confidence that comes from understanding the nature of reality, divine reality, and the nature of our own sacredness and the sacredness of the ground we stand on. The universe unfailingly creates, absolutely, by creating according to what we give it. So think of this way, again, I must say it because it made a big impression on me. You don't like the station that you're listening to on the radio? Change the channel. Change the channel. It is absolutely you can do. And I will tell you, there are people we look up to and admire. We always think, well, they did this and I can't do that, whatever. I don't care how big or strong they are, how invulnerable they seem. We are all on shaky ground sometimes. I don't care how short a period it is. I don't care how centered you are. Everybody gets some of it, even if you never realize it. There are people who have done incredible things, and people say, oh, you're so brave. I wasn't brave. I was scared to death. I did it anyway, just like Andy jumping. You know, maybe it's a medical diagnosis. I've been there. Or even the thought of one can shake some people to their very foundation. Maybe it's a difficult financial or employment situation. Maybe it's the death of someone you loved, some kind of change in some kind of relationship that matters to you. Maybe it's a combination of this. It's been called the dark night of the soul. And that reminds me we're coming up on solstice. And solstice is an ancient sacred holiday in which it is the longest night and shortest time of daylight of the entire year. Christmas was stolen from that. The Christians wanted to move things away from the paganism and bring it to Christianity. So instead of usually around December 21st, they moved it to December 25th. And we actually incorporated a lot of things from the solstice. Think of the Yule log. Think of so many things, if you look at it, that actually are very pagan about our Christmas. You know, there you are, thinking everything is going so well, you really got it going on. Suddenly there's Delbert singing to you. Standing on shaky ground, aren't you? And you go, oh, it's shade. You know, it's easy to think of ourselves as strong and in charge when things are going well, isn't it? Oh, yeah. It's easy to talk about being centered and on sacred ground and one with the divine when life is good. But when the fertilizer hits the ventilator on small or large scale, the rubber suddenly meets the road and it's time. Do you believe it or you not? Are you going to act from what you've been taught about spiritual principles, that you are a divine manifestation, that you are one with the very intelligence that created you? Absolutely. It may feel like, Andy, it's going to be jump or fry on this one. Absolutely. Even if nothing is actually happening, but we think it's imminent. I'm going to the doctor and I know I'm going to get this terrible report. My grandfather had it, my uncle had it, my cousin had it. They're going to tell me about this thing, whatever it is. You know, it's imminent within us if we have it. If we are so centered that no matter what happens, I am truly okay. I'm better than okay. I'm good. You know, even if it's death, everybody's going to have death. It's not something to be afraid of. It's simply a change of state, like water evaporating into vapor or ice melting into water. It's a natural occurrence. What I don't like the idea of is living poorly, living in pain, living in poverty, living in very bad circumstances. You know, then suddenly there's Delbert singing to me. You know, Delbert's personal serenade on a station in our head that doesn't seem like we can change it. That is no fun. But one thing I know is that the channel can be changed. And I have the hand that can reach over to the knob or the button or whatever it is and change it. Learning spiritual laws such as God is all there is. Everything came out of this divine intelligence. I'm one with that, and I have the ability to change my life. I'm not in control. I am the one who is the actor, maybe, the director of a film of my life. You know, no matter if I have a certain dogma I give to a certain organization, I don't think Divine Mind cares because Divine Mind is way above any particular religious beliefs. I think it matters because Spirit responds accordingly and instantaneously. Absolutely, without judgment to whatever we are changing to. Sometimes we change, and then we change right back to what we were before, and then we change and change back, and we wonder why we're not getting different results. It reminds me of that scene in Dances with Wolves. I hope you've all seen it, where Dances with Wolves is going across the prairie with this old guy, and they're in the cart with the mule, and they come across a skeleton on the ground with an arrow pierced his chest. There's no flesh on that skeleton. And the old fella looks at it. He looks at Dances with Wolves. He says, I bet back home they're saying, why don't he write? Because, why are we expecting change when we're putting out the same thing over and over? The glorious gift is we don't have to. And I'm here to remind you of it today. There's no judgment. There is no one up there going, do you know what she did and with whom, with what body parts? I'm telling Jesus and God right now. Run over there. It's a flunky little legion of angel tattletales. That's not happening. This is an intelligence. We've personalized it to help us have a grasp, but it's so much bigger, and that's not happening. Absolutely. If we decide to change, we really decide to change, not just think about, and how many times have I said, okay, from now on out, I'm doing, and fill in the blank. I've said it, and then a little while later, I thought, well, maybe not right now. Maybe I'll do this later today or tomorrow, whenever. But I don't really change. I didn't really decide. But when I do really decide, resources become available to me that I could not have engineered. What I need to know, who I need to know, what I need to see or hear comes to me. And I have the ability suddenly to know when it's presented that I need to know this. It may have been presented to me, as I know in a couple of occasions, over and over again, Susan, what about fill in the blank? And I just couldn't hear it, or I didn't want to deal with it. So now I know. It's like that dark night of the soul, that solstice, when the night is longest. But rather than being something to fear, we are going into what's known as the deep sleep. That time in which we sleep and dream to emerge into the light. The sun is coming back. Or the sun, as we are taught about Christmas, is born. That light is reborn within us. Absolutely, it's very, very beautiful. And when I need to know something, I learned this. I start affirming that it is clear to me as writing on the wall. I easily see it. And things do get easier. It works. Now, prayer makes everything possible, but it doesn't always make it easy. But it's possible where it wasn't possible before. I know a lot of people who use this teaching to stop smoking, and they said, well, it wasn't easy, but I never could do it before, when suddenly I could. How much resistance comes up when we start affirming our changes is in direct proportion to how much we don't want to give up our old way of thinking. So when things happen and you pray and suddenly it just goes to hell in a handbasket and everything, well, I'm not praying anymore. Look what happened. Somebody told me that once. I don't want you to pray for me. I've seen what happens. Because people's lives changed. They did. And they got to deal with it. And they got the opportunity for a whole new mindset. It may seem like a rock-solid situation that there's no change, but having faith in Spirit's response, immersing ourselves, bathing ourselves in that faith, a little drop of water can begin to drip on that rock. Or maybe it's a deluge. Suddenly there's a crack and some little plant begins to emerge where there was no life before as we know it. Having faith, if we're ready to stand our ground, focused on our goal, it makes things possible. Sometimes it makes it easy. Sometimes it makes it happen really fast. Sometimes it takes a while because we have to incorporate that change. But I stand in front of you, honest to God, as testament that what I'm saying is true. I wouldn't ask you to do anything or consider doing anything that I have not personally proven to myself. You know, my faith is alive, and so am I. Despite cancer, abusive relationships, disappointments, and betrayals. And you know, I've participated in some way in all those things. I'm certain I've betrayed people, maybe unwittingly or even knowingly. But that's not what Spirit is responding today. I stand knowing the difference in where I was then and where I am now, and how to live an honest, ethical life. You know, at times I was an excellent bad example. I will say that over again, but that's no more. I know better, and now I do better. And by myself, I did not make anything happen. I turned it over to divine mind. I don't need to tell God how to do something. As I was taught, I'm not on the Ways and Means Committee. I put it out there. I don't have to know how it's going to happen. I have faith and allow it to unfold, because every time, well, this has got to happen and that's got to happen. What am I doing? Limiting myself, absolutely. You know, I co-created with God, and I shifted my life in new ways. We're not in control. Again, I'm going to say that. We're not. I don't care if somebody tells you you're in control, you're not. We're co-creating. And, you know, don't think you have to be, perfect to stand on sacred ground. You don't. You don't have to be constantly going, what is wrong in here? What do I need to find it? You put it out there that you're willing to grow and change, and it will be shown to you. You know, you don't have to be this perfect, upstanding citizen. It doesn't matter if you're physically, financially successful in this world, or if you are far from it. Spirit still responds. I love to read the obituaries and see the funny things that people write about. And there's someone, I saw a lady whose list of accomplishments in the AJC took up this much of a column. I thought I'd just get tired practically reading that. I am overwhelmed by all I haven't done compared to her. And then I thought, well, she wants to do it, but I don't. That must not be mine to do. And one of the ones I read was about this wonderful mom who had died. She had lived a nice, long life. And with all the lovely things her children had to say about her, they also wrote, she was a terrible cook. If something wasn't good enough, she crumbled up some potato chips into it. And if the chili wasn't good, she used Doritos. She was a terrible cook, but my, we loved her, and how much love she brought in this life, you know. Be patient with yourself and kind if you feel less than faith-filled at times. We all feel that way. Ministers feel that way. Sure they do. You know, we're humans who decided to be ministers. It takes a special person, I agree, to want to do this. It's not easy. But we have people who support us. We talk to other ministers and we talk to our prayer practitioners. And I say to you today, let the prayer practitioners be there for you. Let us support you. Let us use all those years of training that it took to get those certificates that we were licensed. Because, you know, the less we stand on shaky ground, the more we experience the sacred ground. Nothing is impossible unless we declare it to be so. So let's stop declaring it. Let's declare something new. Let us accept something that individually and collectively we can change this world. Peace is possible. Clean water is possible. Clean air. Great, healthy, vibrant environments and ecosystems are there. Peace is possible. It is. We just have to stop saying it isn't so. You know, a spiritual revolution is at hand, I believe, the like of which the world has never seen. Is coming from places just like this, not only this place, but just like this, in so many places all over the world. But the media is not reporting all that. But we are creating a new heaven on earth. And we do so every time we stop letting Delbert sing to us in our heads about how I'm on shaky ground. Absolutely. So thank you, Shannon, for the opportunity to remind myself and share with others these beliefs, thoughts, and experiences, these truths. I invite you to join with me with knowing and living this today. Let's stand tall and strong because we're blessed, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now you see why they asked me to speak. I would like to invite the practitioners to come forward, please. These people are available for prayer as our gift to you today. They're not going to give you a whole counseling session, but they will share with you their gifts and their knowing. So stop a minute and take that breath. Lower your shoulders, relax your neck. Feel the vibrance of the energy within you, of the miracle of our physical sight, our ability to walk and talk and to think and to love and to laugh. Rejoice, if you will, in what you have. Release that what you don't think you have and what you don't want, and know in your heart of hearts that Spirit is always saying yes. Know that we are here, we ministers and practitioners and even congregants are here to support you, knowing that nothing is impossible through God, through faith. Let us know that this upcoming solstice, this dark night of the soul, is actually the opportunity to emerge in a greater light, a greater consciousness. Feel your heart chakra, that part in the center of your chest that's called in the Eastern traditions the heart chakra, the heart energy center. And if you can, drop your awareness down into that heart chakra and breathe in energy and inspiration, and breathe out love. Let us picture or visualize or feel it going through this room to every other person, beyond these walls, across the city, the state, the region. Let it extend through our country, our continents, our oceans, our waters. And know that the way is made clear as we believe it is so. Let the Christ consciousness that we celebrate this season, known as Christmas, let it bloom within us and express. There is love in this room today. There is so much love in this world. Let us let it overflow in our lives and express in whatever way is yours, is mine to do. Just keep breathing. As I do this, I feel myself feeling as if I'm vibrating. Maybe you do too. Maybe you have a different sensation. That's how alive we are. That's how radiant we are. This does not stop when this body does. It is the energy of the universe, the creative force of all. And let us keep in mind some prayer requests that we have as we do this. Reverend David's family is recovering from the flu. Let's know health and wellness for them. Doreen Lampkin's nephew recently suffered severe burns. Let us know his wholeness, his health, his healing, his ease and joy in recovery. Our very own Jericho Brown lost a very beloved one in his life this week. Let's hold him in our hearts. And please keep the families in your prayers while knowing full healing. Add anyone to this moment that you want to bring into that healing light, and don't forget to include yourself. Know that this is prayer and this works. That you are wonderful, and so am I, and so ends this lesson. Thank you.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God